how do you do this? How can I do this faster? Efficiency, right? Again, looking at systems and efficiency. How can I make this faster? And then created a business card.
There's so many people that miss on like little upsells like that. They're like, oh no, I'll just get it done for you quickly. It's like, no, if you have to inconvenience yourself and now you went from working your normal day to adding 2, 3, 4 more hours to your day, you gotta pay for that, right?
This whole AI stuff, you know, like I kind of lean towards like people like to do business with people they like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like especially like online presence and stuff like that. Like you gotta put yourself out there. All right, let's take this off. So we're here with a very special guest. He's a good friend of mine. This is Nick. So he's in the I guess the construction business, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been trying to get him on, but he's just too busy. You know, he's starting a side hustle, and he's also a dad, right? So and he also has a regular job. So he's very busy guy. So it's I guess it's an honor to have him here.
Yeah.
So Nick, take it away. Tell us your story. So you know what's going on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome. This is my first podcast, so
All right.
it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good to find time to come out here, talk to you guys, and figure out our legacy and grow our business, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So born and raised San Francisco. Started there. Went to college at Oregon State, and then from there ended up getting recruited to a company and moved out to Hawaii for a few years. So I was
I've heard
doing
this before. So you were born and raised in
San Francisco.
San Francisco. That's
Yeah,
right.
well,
Okay.
born in Walnut Creek, but pretty much moved around the city. We were in San Francisco, in the Sunset and Laguna Honda area. We moved around the city a little bit, but went to grammar school in the city, went to high school in the city, and I say I'm born and raised in San Francisco.
There he goes. He's a San Francisco. You heard it here.
Yeah. But so I ended up out there in Hawaii for about 2 years, doing some light rail work.
How was that? Where were you at?
We were in on Oahu, stayed in Makakilo, kind of on the west side of the island, if you know that area. And then
beautiful.
We loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it looking back. It took a few years, but working there, we were working 6 days a week, 14 plus hour days. It was just a really tough job.
Yeah.
But the group we had there, the friends we had, right, the people you meet in the industry, we all came together and kind of had a family out there. We had Friendsgivings, we had Christmas together, right?
Yeah.
We told our families, hey, you got to come out here because it was a couple $1,000s just to fly home. So we stayed on the island for pretty much the 2 years, other than a couple times and getting married.
That makes sense.
We came back here to get married, and then
And when you say we, you mean you and your wife?
my wife and I, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. She graduated just after I did, and then moved out there with me.
Nice.
So started our journey out there together, and found a little place. Didn't even have a couch or anything in it. Had a little bed, and just figured it out.
That's all
And
you
we
need, though.
we
Like,
actually
when
we
you're
even had a
getting
roommate.
started.
We even had a roommate, but saw him once a month.
Perfect.
So it worked out. It worked out perfect. Yeah. People over there were paying crazy amount of money to live. We lived in basically a cardboard box out there, and it was awesome.
So
Awesome.
it's quite expensive in.
It's
Hawaii.
very expensive.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
But
I'd
the
say
flights back should be cheap though, no? Like SFO has direct.
just in my head, I'm thinking $1,000.
Why spend it if
So
you
it's
don't
like,
have to?
why spend it if you
Oh
don't
yeah,
have
I
to?
mean,
Don't spend it.
you're in paradise.
Don't
already.
spend it if you don't got to.
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And I think that's one thing, like me myself, like when I started, when my first relationship, like I had a roommate too, right? Because if like the place is 2,000, especially living here in the Bay Area, like if you can find someone to split it with, I mean, that's $1,000 a month more in your pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say on average, people were paying somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 to live out there. We were under $1,000, including all utilities.
Oh,
No.
that's
So
beautiful.
it was, so we were
Beautiful.
saving money.
Yeah. And
Save-
even if
saving
your
money.
roommate, as long as they're not like a complete jackass.
No, he was he was cool, and
You're
again,
good to
we
go.
never saw him. He worked nights. He was doing his own side
Beautiful.
hustles and stuff, and we never saw him.
Awesome.
Never saw him at all.
So then from Hawaii, you went to
Hawaii, then we were out there for about 2 years or so. Moved to Washington, then from Washington, was there a little bit. Then did a commute to Oregon for a little bit. Worked on a treatment plant there.
Yeah.
For a microchip manufacturer. I'm not sure even though if there's a statute of limitations on if you can say the name or not, but you're not supposed to once
don't wanna hit
when you're
copyright
working
strikes.
there. Yeah, when you're working on the job, you can't really talk about it because it's a private entity. But microchip manufacturer in Oregon, everyone will figure out who that
Don't
is.
need to say any more than
Yeah,
Is it
but
Chinese? What's my uncle there?
yeah, exactly. No, but did that job it was supposed to be 5 weeks, then got married, got pulled back in there for another year and a half, and then moved down to Texas for 2 years.
Is this doing the same thing that you're doing now?
No, it's similar industry.
Okay.
This treatment plant was kind of almost a side job for that company.
Yeah.
Where they were trying to get into another market. I was local. There were a couple other guys local, and they said, you know what, we're just going to send this team over there and go tackle this job. We went over there and did it. It went well for us, but it was a very tough spot. There were some partners, the other company and whatnot. There was just it was a rough ride for them. We did really well at the end of the job, but we ended up moving on. And I don't think that district of the company is doing any kind of that work again.
And your wife went with you too?
Yeah, she moved everywhere with
That's
me.
awesome.
Yeah, she would
finding a woman that like will follow you on your path, your legacy, right?
Yeah,
it's so important, because a lot of like, I don't want to move, but like, no, you got to come with me, baby. Come on.
She's done it from the beginning. She's been amazing. I mean, support wise,
awesome,
we talked about it. It was like, hey, even for the internship, I interned out in Hawaii first. It was like, hey, we're going out to Hawaii, and then it was between companies when I was finally deciding. I said, hey, we're either going to Hawaii or we're going down to LA. And those were the two options with the companies that I was talking to. No, but two completely different companies. One was more bridges and structures, and one was more buildings.
Okay. Which one were you more passionate about at the time?
Bridges and structures.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
So, and that's the same company I interned with in Hawaii. Hawaii did kind of catch me. It sounded nice.
Yeah.
But living there was totally different.
So
the 1% people see when they go there, it's a tough place. I mean, they have their own vibe. They have their own way of doing things there, and
you can't be having howlies there.
Exactly. You grow to love it. You grow to. I mean, the people there are so nice once you get to know them, but they don't like. They don't like outsiders.
Yeah, makes sense.
For good reason.
Yeah.
We're coming over there. We're changing their culture. We're doing it. A lot of people aren't or respectful of other cultures. Yeah. And that's the problem. I would say most people aren't. So they don't want.
I'm here to help you, brother.
Yeah.
We got this.
Yeah.
All right. So then you went Hawaii, then you went to Seattle, and then where'd you go in Texas?
So it was actually Lower Washington and Vancouver.
Okay.
Then Portland, Oregon. So it was kind of the same thing. I stayed in the same place there. And then Texas, I was down in DFW. So it was Grapevine specifically.
Okay. Love Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas was cool. Grapevine was cool. My wife didn't like it as much, but I loved it down there in Texas. It was hot. Yeah, she was pregnant for pretty much the entire time we were there.
Oh, really?
So yeah, with our first kid, that's when we had our first kid there, but it was like 2 months into it, then she got pregnant, then it was 9 months, and then she has the kids, so now you're not doing much.
And those first few years are rough.
Yeah. So it was good down there. I enjoyed it. The work, it was a big interchange.
Yeah.
So I ended up putting up about 20 bridges. Is essentially what it was.
Nice.
It's different overpasses with multiple spans.
Yeah.
I ran a lot of that work down there, and then from there moved back to Seattle. That's where I was kind of in the Seattle Federal Way area, up in Washington.
Yeah.
And then from there did some more concrete work, wall work, another light rail project, and then said COVID hit, and one thing led to another. We kind of just had enough, and my wife were talking about it and said, you know what, I think we both need it. We need to move back to the city. And
interesting. So COVID made you move back to San Francisco. Not made you, but
in a lot of ways, yeah.
Wow, okay.
There were some rough patches. There were some little things going on.
We were locked down here, though.
Exactly. Well, it was also post. It was about a year and a half into COVID, so we were up there for a year and a half. Through COVID, kind of. What was that?
2021 then, right? Yeah.
It was 21. We moved here in February of 22.
Okay.
Is when we moved back to the city.
Wow.
So everything had kind of started getting a little more relaxed. I think there was still masks here when we came here, I believe, but it wasn't as strict. It definitely, it was still kind of a ghost town.
We came from Washington, so it was probably fairly similar.
Yeah, Washington wasn't that bad. I mean, it got a little strict. It didn't, but I was never home once.
Yeah.
All right, we were always essential workers, and you're never home. So, but it was kind of one thing led to another. Having had our second kid up there, that added to it. Had a little earlier than we possibly anticipated. So they're only 18 months apart.
Oh wow,
and then,
that's perfect though.
Right now, we see it and say we recommend all couples to have it early and together because they're the best of friends.
Yeah,
they bicker and everything. They're like an old married couple, but they're the best of friends.
Yeah, they get along, and especially if you like really reinforce like the brother-sister bond, because you got a boy and a girl, right?
Yep. Yeah.
As long as you would reinforce that bond between siblings, like this is like when mom and dad are gone, like it's you two, right? And you two just need to like, this is something I tell my boys all the time. When I'm gone, when your mom's gone, it's like it is you two. You got to take care of each other all the time.
Yeah. I'm constantly telling them they're a team.
Yeah.
So even though they're bickering and going back and forth, I was like, hey, you guys are a team.
Okay.
You guys need to help each other. You guys are going to be a team and work together. Like you're going to yell at each other. Sometimes teams don't always get along, but at the end of the day, hug, kiss, make up. Like you guys, come on.
You
Go to
still love
bed,
each other.
and then at the end of the day, they're always cuddling with each other in bed. They have their two beds are next to each other, and they're always like curled up on one side or the other. When you look, yeah, we still have the monitor set up in their room. We don't really use it, but we've left it set up since we've been there now for so long.
Yeah,
and
admit it, you peek on it every now and then.
My wife does. I had to get her to turn that thing on mute. I'm glad it's been 5 years now since having that monitor, and it finally broke. We realized this morning it doesn't permit sound anymore. So I was like, thank God, because she always has it in there, and you hear the sound machine or something. I can't stand it. But every time you look on there, and they're curled up next to one another at night, and it's the best.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And this whole time you've been doing, so maybe you can break it down.
Yeah, so that was for a large general contractor. Moved to all these different states.
But
Same company.
Like project management.
So it was you're a field engineer at first. The titles change from company to company, but it's all essentially the same. So you're a field engineer at first, doing kind of the background. So you have a foreman and a superintendent. Usually you're working with. The way I always did it was you and your foreman are a team as an engineer, and the superintendent's in charge of both of you. You're not the field's boss. He's not your boss, but you're there to work. You're the team, and the superintendent is running the work, building the work. And then from there, depending on your aptitude, you typically go to moving into being a superintendent. Or you move toward the office side, and you're more of an office engineer, doing scheduling, doing costs, doing contracts, a lot of that.
All the paperwork.
Which all that's in it already. As an engineer, you're doing all of that. I had a really fortunate being able to learn. Contracts were huge with my last company. Yeah. And contracts, scheduling, quantities, you're getting down to why are my costs the way they are.
Yeah. How big are these contracts we're talking about?
That one was close to $1 billion.
Damn.
My God.
It was 350 million. It was two different projects in Hawaii. It was 350 million and I think 550-ish, I believe.
Damn.
So a little south. $3.75 billion for that one. I was on the one down in Texas was technically a change order, I believe, of the original project, and I think it was going on 1.4 billion. Was the total, was everything. This portion was only I think 300 or so million. But yeah, they're in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Wow. And did you guys put in a bid to fix the Salesforce building?
So the
big building that's leaning,
the Millennium Tower.
There you go.
Millennium Tower.
So
the company I work for now is actually the ones who fixed it. So So when I moved back to the city, they were still working on it.
Yeah.
I went through, got a tour of it, got to see everything we were doing down there, and that's what switched companies when I moved back to San Francisco. Okay. And found a good opportunity and decided to make the move.
Very cool.
And then still general contractor. Now I'm working on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
So that's a cool opportunity. That definitely also sucked me back down into San Francisco, saying like, you know what? How often do you get to work on a iconic structure?
Exactly.
So
San Francisco's a beautiful city. Like, don't matter if you disregard like all the politics and all the things that are going on in San Francisco. Like, it's still a beautiful city. Right? You cannot take that away. It's like easily. I don't know. I haven't been everywhere, but like top 5, top 10 cities in the world. Like just the way it's structured and the way it's like with the Golden Gate Bridge. Got some amazing, like the downtown. It's cool, but just gotta disregard all the bullshit.
Yeah. And growing up here, it really hasn't changed that much.
No,
there's there's a lot of people, but whether it's the homeless, whether it's the tenderloin, right, the classic tenderloin, it's expanded maybe a little bit, but it's still its place. It's also still a city.
Yeah.
You got to be careful, no matter where you're doing in a city. It doesn't matter. Every city's the same. You don't want to be certain places at night. You don't want to be during the day. I mean, maybe it's me growing up here. I'm not too worried to walk anywhere in the city. There's places I'll avoid just because I'm not an idiot.
Yeah.
It's like,
especially like
why
3
do
a.m. when all the trouble comes out.
Well, I'm saying even during the day. It's like, do I have to walk down here? Do I have to walk through this area, or could I go around if I wanted to? Or it's like,
why take an Uber to drive
I don't know, but it's like I'm not really that concerned. I don't think, as long as, again, if you're respectful and you're just walking through, you're not.
And especially
I'm
this
worried.
guy can probably relate, but it's like when you travel all over the world, it's like everything you think you see in like San Francisco, New York, like all these places, like areas that you would just avoid, just to be smart, right? Nothing's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's like you compare that to like places like Medellin and stuff. Like there's areas like if you end up on the wrong street at the wrong time of night, like you're getting something bad is going to happen.
Yeah. It's risk mitigation.
That's
that's how I relate it to my company. Back to business, back to everything. That's what we do. We mitigate risks. That's the day-to-day world I live in, is how much can you mitigate your risks? How much risk are you willing to take?
Yeah.
Do I want to put my family in a situation of, hey, we could walk 2 blocks through here, or maybe we take an Uber and go around.
Yeah.
Why am I going to take my family through this street that no one's there? Looks
Yeah.
fine. Well, what if something happens?
What if something does?
What if something does happen?
Yeah.
Versus $10 for an Uber to go 5 extra minutes, right? I mean, I wouldn't take an Uber 5 minutes, but it's like it's
I get you.
an analogy, right?
It's like, why not just reduce the risk?
Reduce
the
the
chances
risk.
of something happening are still pretty low, but just don't even bother with it.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing like when you go to a bar, go to like a biker bar, right? You can go to
Sure.
biker bars all the time, but every time you're there, you're increasing the chance that maybe something bad happens. Or just a bar in general. right?
Bar in general. You're adding to it. Yeah.
All right. Well, we didn't come here to talk about your W-2 job.
No.
We came here to talk about your next venture. So
There we
why don't
go.
you start telling us about that?
Yeah.
And
So
how that started, actually.
Yeah, so moving back here to the city, I've always had it in mind to want to start my own business. Started looking into to general contracting and realized.
How long ago do you start thinking about it? Like that seed started planting.
Yeah.
So I've technically started businesses. I had a business in 7th grade, and I've had businesses all through college. Just kind of little ventures.
Interesting.
Everything from my first business was a tennis racket stringing business.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tennis racket stringing.
Yeah, so I played tennis and young, dumb playing. All of a sudden, you're breaking strings. I don't know if you guys are familiar with tennis at all, but
Yeah.
you put strings through the racket, through the frame. You break them
Yeah.
all the time. Whether they're tight, loose, and the more top spin you put, we were definitely huge top spin growing up.
Yeah.
So you're breaking strings left and right. So I'm paying
Okay.
someone $35 every time I want it strung. $35 to $50, depending where you're at. If you're at a club, if you're not at a club, hey, I need this for the tournament tomorrow. I need whatever it is, and you're paying someone a bunch of money to.
And they wouldn't even do it right.
String the
sometimes,
racket.
right?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it comes out. I'd say it's, for the most part, it's done right.
Yeah.
But then you're still paying someone. It's like, man, I'm shelling out. Start shelling out $100 a month.
I should
right?
be making $35 a pop.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought. So
Yeah.
my dad and I talked about it, and he's a big tennis player, and we looked at it and said, you know what? Why don't we buy a string machine?
Yeah.
I think it was $750.
What's a machine?
So it's a machine. It's about the size of this coffee table, and then probably 4 or 5 feet, maybe 4 feet tall, 3 feet tall.
Okay.
And it rotates, and it has all the mechanisms in it to pull the specific tensions, because everyone tensions their racket differently.
Interesting.
So
I did not know that.
there's
Did you know
huge-
that?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, you
I
have
thought they were all
to,
the same. You just buy a racket?
it's been a long time, but I want to say people go from like 39 pounds, which is really light, essentially making the face a trampoline,
Yeah.
to 50, 60. Again, I've been out for so long. I want to say I strung mine at like 47, something like that, and I'd say the average is 50, and then you can go up, you can get tighter, and the tighter it is, the more control you have, but maybe less feel. There's different things to it, to where it's a much firmer feel, but you have more control because there's more trampoline. You start learning all these things as you're doing it, and
Interesting.
This is interesting
Yeah.
now. Let's talk about this.
Sounds like Nick is missing. Do you still play tennis?
I haven't in a while. I picked up pickleball
Yeah.
a little bit here and there, but I haven't had time.
Don't do the pickleball craze.
I
Come
haven't
on,
had time.
come on. You're a tennis player.
It's a lot of fun. I'll be honest. Pickleball's a lot of fun and a lot easier on the body.
Okay. I got a friend, and she her whole family's like hardcore tennis. She got a scholarship down in Irvine.
Okay.
Like they're hardcore tennis. And they say it's like one of the best sports to get into as you get older because it's not super high impact, right?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. No, I love it. So yeah, started that business. We ended up buying a tennis racket stringer.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I paid it off. Basically paid my dad back within, I want to say it was like 6 months to a year.
Nice.
So I was stringing racket. I had 5 or 6 a weekend.
Wow.
You're just
Nice.
picking. Yeah.
How long does it take?
I got down to about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, which I think is pretty quick.
And the string is probably pretty cheap too.
So the string, you end up getting it in big reels, right? Depending on what you want to get. There's synthetics, there's cat gut, there's sheep gut. Like actually,
gut?
Yep.
Did I hear
yep,
that right?
Yeah.
Cat, like
Gut, intestines, yeah.
They like.
Yep, I'm pretty sure it's the intestine. So it's that's what it originally
How do
was.
they
Now
get
they
the
have sheep
cat
gut.
gut?
Now they have sheep gut. They have there's different ones, and it's a lot of it's a natural string. It feels better, feels different.
Yeah.
There's synthetics that a lot of us use.
Is that what most people use now?
I'd say like a cat gut was like $50 a string. Your synthetic was $18. Or if you buy it in these reels, these big reels, I mean, I'm $2 a racket versus, and then you're stringing it, and I'm charging someone $35-40.
Yeah.
And it takes me 20 minutes.
Same amount of time. And
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and the more you did, it would take me an hour to do the first few.
Okay.
But as you get your process, you get your stringing process, and you're flowing it through, and it's fun.
And that's where the labor comes in, because people are like, why do you charge so much? It only takes you 20 minutes. You'd be like, it took me 10 years to get that experience to get it down to 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Maybe not 10 years, but you get the point.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Same thing with
About a year.
Yeah.
Took me a year to figure that out, come up with different
Exactly.
things. Let me look on YouTube. We had the day of YouTube still.
Yeah.
So we finally, I
know.
remember growing up with dial-up in the city, and
Oh
you
my
get
God.
to that, and it's like the second you can kind of look something up, you're like, hey, how do you do this? How can I do this faster? Efficiency, right? Again,
Yeah.
looking at systems and efficiency. How can I make this faster? And then created a business card. I don't think I have any anymore, but
I'd love to see
had,
it.
had my own. I know. It's one of those things. It's probably in a keepsake box somewhere.
There you go.
I know I had to have saved one
Yeah.
somewhere. Made a business card. I barely used it, but putting out on Craigslist. That's when
Yeah.
Craigslist was huge.
What year is this?
This is in 2000. Let's see, graduated in 06 from 8th grade. And then, so it would have been 05.
05. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
04,
Okay.
05.
Yeah, so that would have been like Craigslist, probably newspapers, maybe just like local flyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
definitely no. I mean, Facebook was around at the time,
Yeah.
but no one was. It was still a social thing, kind of. It was still new
exactly. Not really
to a
for
lot
business.
of people. But yeah, Craigslist
That's
ads.
dope.
So that's where I started, was Craigslist ads.
Yeah.
Grew from there and did it pretty much all the way through high school. Came back, did some in college. Finding different people. Some of it was referrals.
Yeah.
Started my dad's team. I started stringing for my team, different people I played with, and from there it just grew. Someone would call me up, hey, so and so said you string rackets. I need 5 strung. Right? People would get ready for tournaments and they'd break a bunch of rackets and they
Yeah.
need more. Okay, yeah. How strong do you need them? Oh, you need them that fast? Well, start charging premiums.
Yeah.
Right? And then start realizing, well, that's what the clubs do to us. Anywhere you're playing,
Yeah.
it's like,
You
hey,
want it
I need
pretty-
this.
you want
I need
quick
this tomorrow.
turnaround. Yeah.
I need this. It's broke right now. I need it tomorrow. Like, okay, well, it's an extra, double the charge. You almost
Yeah.
double it.
Expedited
Like,
service.
Done.
Yeah.
They're-
There's so many
Yeah.
people that miss on like little upsells like that. Be like, oh no, I'll just get it done for you quickly. It's like, no, if you have to inconvenience yourself and now you went from working your normal day to adding 2, 3, 4 more hours to your day, you got to pay for that, right? I'm
Yeah.
missing maybe family time. They could be missing a million different things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm eating McDonald's instead of cooking home at dinners. I mean,
Yeah,
who knows,
yeah.
right?
Jeez, it's like $15 for a meal now at McDonald's. It's crazy.
Don't even get me
People are
started on that, man.
Yeah. Anyone who's still in
Even
that
a
is
quarter
crazy.
pounder is like $11 now.
Yeah.
But so stringing rackets, what was next?
So fast track up a little bit. Going into college, toward the end of graduation, my buddy. So I rode in high school, crew.
Road crew.
Rode.
row.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Rode for 3 years. It was kind of 2.5. Ended up pulling tendons in both my hands. But long story short, rode. One of the guys I was rowing with,
Yeah.
he had this kind of idea of creating a water bottle holder. So he rode at Davis and had this idea, and he called me up and we started talking about it, and then we started developing it.
Yeah.
I bought a 3D printer in college. I was living on.
You were ahead
It was
of the game.
it was brand new. It was like $3,000 at the time. We bought a big one, thinking, oh, we bought way too big. Thought, oh, we're gonna be producing this stuff. We're going all out. I went all in and spent all my money on it. I was
always like
living off
How
of
much
like
did it cost back
ramen.
then?
It was like $3,000 is what I spent on
That's
it.
a lot.
But it was, yeah, you could buy them cheaper.
Yeah.
But I wanted one that was fast. I did all the research on the specs and all these different
There's
things.
like all the different types of plastics and
Yep,
everything.
you could do multiple plastics. We
Yeah.
do it again. It's part of a business. Sometimes you're running before you can walk, and you
Yeah.
look back and you're saying, "Eesh, I tripped on myself." Right? Did I really need to spend $3,000 in capital
True.
to do it? And you learn now why don't you get the sale first?
Yeah.
If you get the sale
the
first, let the
customers
customer pay for it, right? You start learning that. We're like
That's a huge
nowadays
thing.
not being out of pocket is huge. And we can get into that too
I tell
as
people
we
that
go
all the
through.
time.
But
It's like, don't buy it if you don't have to, right? I know I shouldn't talk because we're launching this podcast and I have all this equipment, but I had some of this before, just to be fair. But yeah, don't spend if you don't have to. Make the customers, make your revenue and your profits pay for building your business.
Exactly.
You just roll all of your profits in that first 6 months, 12 months right back into your business.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he had this idea, it was still very infant, and then we started talking about it. I bought the printer. We said, you know what, let's do it. Let's make a business.
Yeah.
So it was building a water bottle holder for rowing boats. So rowing boats, just if you're not familiar with the hull, it's hollow underneath the seats, and essentially we would wrap our water bottles in a sweatshirt, in some kind of t-shirt, something we were using on the boat, and you'd set it underneath so it's not bouncing back and forth in the boat, damaging the boat.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes those things are 3 feet deep and you're looking to get your water bottle and it's way behind you and you're asking the guy behind you, hey, can you grab my water bottle and pass it up to me? And you could look it up and see that it's hollow all the way through. There's breaks, but your water bottle's not there for you.
That makes sense.
It's like, how how is something not developed for this?
Yeah.
We've dealt with this for 3
It would be
years in
like
high school,
lightweight,
and there's
right? Yeah.
there's hundreds of people, thousands of people out there. How's someone not figured this out?
Yeah.
So we figured out a way to attach it to the foot stretcher. That's what it's called in the boat.
Okay.
Started looking into patents.
Okay.
So we looked into utility patents. Said,
Yeah.
if no one's developed a water ball holder, why can't we get a utility patent, essentially giving us governing
Yeah.
power over anyone who wants to put any kind of water ball holder in the boat?
Really? Is that what that is? So utility patent is that?
So utility is, I might mess this up a little bit, but utility patent is for the use.
Yeah.
Like putting a cap on a camera lens.
Okay.
Right. Camera comes without a cap.
Okay.
Let's just think about it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
If someone developed a camera, well, the lens keeps getting scratched.
Yeah.
So I want to develop a utility patent to essentially say something that attaches to
So
the front.
anytime that someone puts a cap on the front of a camera, they would have to pay.
Ultimately,
Wow.
that
Okay.
so there's certain ones like that. Doorknobs. Right. I'm trying to think of broad things, and
Yeah.
someone may poke holes in it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's a utility patent, and then there's design patent. So a design patent is saying, well, someone wants to put a cap on there, but this one connects to the inside. You pinch it
Yeah.
and it connects to the inside. Well, someone wants to connect it to the outside. Well, maybe the utility patent was for all of it. Maybe it was for just the inside connection.
Okay.
Well, the design says, well, hold on. I have one thing that turns,
Yeah.
goes in there and unturns. I have one thing that pinches. You're getting into the actual
Oh.
design of it.
So you might need several.
Right. So nowadays, there is no utility patent on camera lens covers.
Yeah.
Right. There's probably thousands of different ones out there.
Yeah.
Some are stronger, some are lighter, some are easier, whatever it is.
Okay.
But maybe someone comes up with a design that makes it super special. Maybe it's maybe you have one where you push a button and it flips up.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Kind of like a rifle scope or something
Yeah,
like
that
that.
makes
It flips up, and they design that and they patent it, so no one can now use a right hand spring. It gets super specific.
Oh, does it?
And that's
really?
because you can't just design anything to. It's like, well, why not put on the left side?
Yeah.
And there's ways you can talk it out. There's ways you can write it up. And we got an attorney involved. Started
Yeah.
looking at it, and ultimately the patent office came back and said it's too obvious. Is the terminology they use.
Too obvious.
So cup
does
holders
that mean?
cup holders exist
Yeah.
in the world, right?
Yeah.
Cup holders in cars, cup holders in
Airplane.
car seats and airplanes,
Yeah,
and whatever
everywhere,
it
yeah.
is. There's cup
Yeah.
holders. So maybe it's the way we worded it. Maybe it's just that, but basically creating a utility patent for a cup holder in a rowing boat, the terminology is too obvious.
Yeah.
So they patent denied.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, well, we did a lot of the writing ourselves. We could have hired someone to do all the writing. We did a lot of it ourselves,
But
did
you can
all
still
the
move
research.
forward without the patent, right?
Absolutely. Patent's only there to protect you.
Yeah.
You can develop anything, right? I mean, you hear about patents expiring all the time. Whether it's your iPhone, whatever it is, the little parts and pieces, designed patents, they expire, and all of a sudden people want to do it.
Yeah.
For tools, the multi-tool, I don't know if you
Yeah.
have a multi-tool
I do,
in your
yeah.
collection, right? The one that it vibrates
yeah.
really fast. So that patent expired in like 2007 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's when everyone came out with multi-tools.
Oh.
It wasn't prevalent before that.
Who owned it before that? Do you know?
It was I wanted to say it was Makita, but it's not. It was
Yeah. That's like one
Another
of the best tools,
brand.
man. I love that thing.
Yeah, but you look back and I was like, how have I never seen this tool before, ever?
Yeah,
Right?
makes
Until
sense.
I'm thinking 10 years ago, which
Yeah.
I guess it's a little over that.
Yeah.
But
about
you're
15,
like,
20 years ago.
how has no one developed this tool?
Yeah.
Someone had a design patent on it. Someone had some kind of patent on it, and then they weren't good at advertising. They weren't good at whatever, so
Yeah.
they
That's
never
the
got
danger
they
of
never
patents,
got
right?
their tool out there.
Yeah.
There are millions of patents out there, right,
Yeah.
that are dead.
Wow.
But no one can use them until that. Maybe someone buys it. You can call someone up and contact them and buy a patent.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of all the ins and outs of, okay, someone dies, this happens,
Sounds
whatever.
like there's big money there.
don't know.
If you have a really good at coming up with ideas and you know how to get through the patent process, you can start pitching stuff to people.
You could, yeah. People own patents, and I think you can renew patents. It's a lot of money, but there's certain things to that. But maybe not. I might be,
Yeah.
yeah. But there's utility patents, design patents. Tried to do the patent process,
Yeah.
failed, and then said, let's just do it.
Yeah.
So started with a 3D printer, started building that
Yeah.
up, and then
Were they soft and
Came
flexible,
up-
or were they hard?
no, they're hard.
Okay.
Hard ABS plastic.
Yeah.
Figuring out, okay, do you print them this way so it's
Okay.
stronger? If you print it long ways,
Yeah.
well, that just breaks.
Did you ever sell any, or?
So came up with the idea. We ended up getting production in China. We got a CNC machine there. We ended up put an order in for a few hundred, and then we got them back. We ended up getting Stanford, the U.S. national team,
Wow.
and I believe one other team on board
Nice.
to start doing purchases.
Okay.
At this time, I had already moved to Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
This is now all of a sudden through this whole timeline. I now graduated, moved to Hawaii right as this was kind of all kicking off.
Yeah.
My partner had graduated from Davis.
Okay.
He was there. We had gotten a $10,000 investment
Yeah.
through talking with different people.
Yeah.
Had some help, got a $10,000 investment to
Yeah.
kick
To get you
things off,
started,
to
yeah.
get
To
started.
get your
Yeah.
inventory, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gave up 10% of the company.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, that was it.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
We were looking at bigger investments possibly,
Yeah.
but said, you know what? We got a little smarter and said, we don't need that much money to start this. So
Goes back to that thing. People underestimate how much they need to get started.
Exactly.
Only take what you actually
which in 10,000 was actually more than we probably needed. Looking back now and how we used the money
Yeah.
was bad. But I got a $10,000 investment.
Leveraging other people's money is really important.
Exactly. At the end of the day, partner started embezzling money, accidentally using it for movie tickets, accidentally using it for traveling.
Of course.
It was more of a.
Was he broke
let
or
me
what?
let me go. No, I don't
Like
think so.
10,000. That's nothing in the
No,
grand scheme of
Actually,
things.
it's a
but
lot
it-
of money back then, right? You know, 10,000.
No.
Well, I mean,
Back in
for
2008.
two young working kids, it was a lot of money.
Yeah,
but
that's right,
but you could
yeah.
stretch it out. It should have been able to be stretched out tremendously.
Yeah.
Our CNC mold cost, I think it was like $3,000 is what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Getting production right. If I had a big order, that would have been a couple thousand.
Yeah.
But now you're only at call it $5,000.
Yeah.
We weren't doing any marketing.
Yeah.
He was in the rowing space. He rowed in college, so he had
Yeah.
these connections to talk with people. So we didn't need a lot. The big thing was traveling to these regattas. And so that's what a rowing race is called, a regatta.
Yeah.
You go there,
I was
talk
trying
to teams.
Put two and two together.
You talk to teams. So we took our
Yeah.
3D printed molds
Oh.
that I
This
made.
is how it fits on your boat.
It's exactly what we did. We took a couple hundred of them,
Yeah.
brought those down there. I was printing night and day. Took them to regattas and said, hey, Los Gatos rowing team,
Yeah.
right? We took in some of the smaller guys first. Los Gatos rowing team, Redwood, PRC, like all these
Yeah.
different high school teams.
How many rowing teams is there in the country, though? Is
So
that
this,
a big
I
market?
was just naming high school teams.
Yeah.
Where we rowed, or sorry, not even high school teams, middle school teams.
Oh, shit,
uh,
okay.
elementary, right? And you got some high schools do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm off. High school teams. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
in high school when I did that. But colleges, right?
Yeah.
Every college has not every college, but for the
Yeah.
most part, all the
lot of
Pac-12
colleges
or
do.
used to be Pac-12, all rowing teams, and it's
Wow.
it's pretty big. So, got to travel to these regattas.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's traveling all over the place to
Yeah.
these regattas. Like, do we really need to be? You start realizing the money's.
Yeah.
Hey, it's $1,000 to go to Boston,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And I'm in Hawaii working on my W-2 job.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, money's gone,
Oh shit.
and now we're in the negative. We're getting penalties on draws. We're getting penalties on all this stuff,
Oh,
and it's like, hey,
damn.
dude, what happened? We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we got taxes coming up. We got this. We're not making any money yet. We shouldn't be spending this money.
Yeah.
I spent $3,000 of my own money for the 3D printer.
Yeah.
I was thinking small. Hey,
It's like a capital investment. Did you guys have any sort of agreement at this point or anything?
So we had a partnership agreement.
Yeah.
I ended up getting in contact with a family friend attorney,
Yeah.
and he said, "Hey, I can't actually sign you because I'd have to charge you what I charge other
Yeah.
people." That's fine. So I did all the write up myself,
Yeah.
and I said, "Hey, I've retained the services of his company
Yeah.
and him," and I sent him a first class mail letter. This
Yeah.
is after months of now talking of saying like, dude, why is there Terry Fader movie tickets on our charges, right? And
Terry Fader
that
movie.
comes up
That was
specifically. I
important.
remember that one. Yeah, and it was like $700
Of all the charges that
In
stick
Vegas.
out,
He's-
he's
oh.
like Terry Fader.
Oh, it's the same card that we use for this. It was the same in my personal, and it over and over again. Oh, rent. Oh, it's like little things like
I tell people all the time, it's
Bullshit,
like
dude.
try to open your business credit right as soon as you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have good credit, open your business credit as soon as you can, and then separate all of your personal and all your business. There's
Yeah.
some nuance on now you're in the realm of what personal stuff you can spend on your business, but if you have partnerships and stuff, you need to come to some sort of agreement ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Probably like only meals that are together or only trips you take together.
Exactly. And he
Everything
was-
else should be personal.
Yep. Yeah, and we'd made mistakes early on
Yeah, of
trying to
course.
call people and say like, hey, maybe we pay someone $5,000 to set up our business and set up the
Yeah.
accounting and so. It's like, no, so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need all that. You don't even need a business to start a business.
No, you can
Go-
do sole prop. Yeah.
Sole proprietor or you can go back a few months, right? You
Yeah.
can start a business, see if it's even worth something,
Exactly.
and then look at it and say, all right, this isn't worth it. Well, you didn't spend $300 on an LLC. You didn't spend these taxes. You didn't open a bank account, put money in there. You didn't do all this.
But you should have some sort of at least written agreement that where it says like,
if you have
this
partners,
is kind of how everything's going to grow.
yeah. If you have partners and you're dealing with that. So ultimately, embezzled money. I was busy with W-2.
Embezzled.
That's what I call
Nick,
it.
what
That's
is
what
up
I
with
call
your
it.
luck and partners?
Yeah, it fizzled out. Yeah, right.
So what was the lessons you learned from that? Because a lot of people will be like, oh, I got this friend. I'm going to go into a partnership with him, right? And then because I have some lessons, right? He has some lessons as well. So like, what are your biggest lessons?
I have a lot of
Let's go from that experience specifically.
Yeah. Some of the big ones, right? You take everything with stride and you look at it and say, one, maybe you don't go into business with friends.
Yeah.
Right? That's a tough one. Or
Yeah.
ones you haven't seen in a while. We hadn't seen each other for 3 or 4 years. And it was a good idea and we were
How did it
kind of
start?
friends. He called me. I think we called. We were
do a
back in the city,
partnership.
and it was like, "Hey, let's start doing this." And we started growing it. We had a couple other people interested, and we ended up just doing it ourselves. It was organic, growing, and we were young, and didn't have a ton of help. Didn't have any mentors or anyone really helping us out.
That's key right there.
but-
Is not having mentors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have gone to the SBDC, Small Business Development Center,
Yep, yep,
right? I finally learned about that. I haven't been able to do a lot there.
Yeah.
But
Chamber of Commerce. Too,
but there's a
really
lot.
good.
There's a lot of resources out there, and
Yeah.
whether they were there back then or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
I think they were.
They were.
Yeah.
but use your resources. That's one of
Yeah.
those things, right? Use your
Nobody knows
resources.
that.
Don't
They
overextend
don't teach
yourself.
you about business.
No.
School.
Even some of those, I've seen some things that they don't. It's very generic, and they don't really
Yeah.
teach people business.
You're not learning from like big entrepreneurs. You're learning
No.
from like small fish that probably failed.
Maybe.
Right? Or maybe.
Yeah.
They could have come in like.
Or didn't even do it to begin with, and they just think they know about business without even starting a
Exactly.
business.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so
Like-
much to it. So much of it's just lessons you just have to
Yeah.
take.
Like
as
Nick,
lumps.
my biggest mistake, and I think I told Rob,
Yeah.
was I gave my ex-business partner my personal credit card,
Mm.
and he was charging everything you can think of. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you spending $100 on gas every other day?
Yeah.
Oh, because I have a V8. I'm like, well, you do have a V4. Why don't you drive the V4?
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
but I like the V8 because it's more comfortable. I'm
He's
like,
driving the V8 because he has your credit card.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow. So when I try to take the credit card back, right?
Oh no.
That was a that was a big problem.
Open
Yeah.
up credit like right away.
Yeah.
Business. This is a big lesson for me. Like when I built out one of my properties or the ADU that I have here, is I put it all in my personal and like thrashed my personal credit card for like a year until I paid it all off. It was 0%, but it was still the banks see that as like you have a huge loan. So I say anyone, if you have like over 650, 700 credit score, like get business credit. That should be like
Business
the first thing you do
Mhm.
to get business credit because you want to play with their money. You don't want to play with your own money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think of other lessons I learned from that. Use your resources. Don't overextend yourself.
Yeah. Get a mentor, a good mentor.
Yeah, if you can find a
Yeah,
mentor, right?
true.
Find a mentor you can trust. Sometimes that's not as easy.
It is.
But also
yeah.
the mentors that are there, don't disregard them.
Yeah,
Listen.
exactly.
There's a lot of people that don't listen.
Yeah.
You need to just shut up and listen sometimes. And I am guilty as charged.
I
A
think
lot
we
of it.
all
we
are.
all?
Yeah.
Don't we
I
all?
got this shit figured out. What are you
Don't we
talking
all?
about?
Yeah. But
Okay, so then you
listening.
did.
Then after that, general contracting. Worked for the couple big companies. Now here, San Francisco.
nice.
Last year, decided to say, you know what, I want to do it. I
Yeah.
started looking into general contractor B.
Okay.
So it's a residential general contractor, and looked at the criteria and said,
Yeah.
I qualify for all this
Yeah.
with all my. So I was a superintendent for a long time doing stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like I have all this field experience.
Exactly.
Actually, I qualify
Because you
to.
only need 4
to do
years
this.
of experience, right? Is that what it is?
Don't quote me on it. I think it's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Plus other. Yeah, there's a few things. It's if you were a journeyman, if you were running work.
Yeah.
I was directly running and working in the field with craft guys for over 5 years.
What I've
On
noticed-
multiple things, everything from electrical to carpentry to
Yeah.
there's a lot of different aspects of it.
And even if you're like a handyman on your house and you have like records of all the projects that you've worked
Yeah.
on for several years, you can count that
Yep,
too.
yeah, they give you. There's a self. What is it called? A self.
Self builder or something.
Yeah, or it's like a self identification form
Yeah.
kind of thing. Self verification.
Yeah. Or you just find a contractor friend that's really good and we'll sign up. After you've done 4 years of work for him.
Exactly. No, there's ways to go around it and ways to you do it. I was like, wow, I have all this.
Yeah.
I meet all the criteria.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be as hard as I thought. I haven't worked at all in residential other than my own side jobs. I flipped a house. I've gone through and helped with a lot of small projects here or there, built a whole custom shelving unit in the home we owned up in Washington.
Yeah.
Doing small things, right?
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
done my own plumbing. You could do little things
Okay.
here or there where
Yeah.
with under the sink, right?
Yeah.
Change the P-trap out, clear the drain. Do a lot of the basics that actually is most of my work right now, especially
Yeah.
starting out.
Good small jobs.
It's small jobs, it's basics, but the margins are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then, so you got your license last year, or was it this year?
It was wow. Now I'm thinking. I think it was still this year. Or no, no, it had to be last year.
Yeah.
Had to be last year, July,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
There you go.
So Nathan,
yeah.
where do you get most of your like small jobs now? Like, are you Craigslist or
I would say 90% of my jobs are Yelp.
Yelp?
Yelp.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
I'd say almost everything I get is Yelp. I tried Google. They just took my money, and I don't think I got any benefit from
Google's tough.
from Google
Google's
ads.
better for existing customers, not for new customers.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Because people aren't searching for Nick's construction, or people are usually searching for like Nick's construction versus Yelp. They're just looking for landscaper. They're looking for plumber. They're
Sure.
looking for electrician. Google,
It's
usually
specific.
Google very specific things.
Which
Brands that you know already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I could see that, and I ended up actually canceling my Google ads, and nothing dropped. And so now I'm not paying $300 a month or whatever their minimum was pretty high too.
Yeah.
To where I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
they can
you
be
know what? I don't
spending.
need to be spending that. But Yelp, yeah, and I do the absolute minimum right now.
Are you doing
because-
ads for Yelp?
Yep. So I do ads on Yelp. I pay for the full business profile.
Yeah.
It's about $300 to $500 a month
Okay.
to do it. I think I just increased my ad spend a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm essentially at the low end of the
Yeah.
recommended,
Yeah.
if not lower.
Which is what?
And it's like $10
A day.
A day?
a day or something
That's-
like that. Yeah.
How many leads do you
which is-
get out of that?
I get 3 or 4 a day.
3 or 4 a
Wow.
day.
I would
That's
say,
good.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
plenty
So
to
if
keep
you
me
just
busy.
ramp up-
I'm
you just
working.
ramp
I'm-
up that ad spend, man. You'll
That's
get hella leads.
which is also what I'm not worried about when I
Yeah.
make that jump.
Exactly.
So I'm still doing W-2 right now. I do that
Yeah.
every day, Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
12 hours a day, 10 to 12 hours a day.
He's got
And then-
itch.
and then
You
the
can see
evening,
it. You
yeah.
can see it in his eye. He's like,
Should he quit today? You wanna send in your resignation on
No,
camera?
not gonna
the
happen.
timing has to be right,
Yeah.
especially when you have family, right?
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, right? And that's why we do all this.
Yeah.
For me, it's for family.
Yeah, exactly.
Do I want to eventually own a Ferrari, a Lambo, and have some nice cars?
of
But
course.
before that, it's like, hey, kids, whether
Yeah.
they go to college or not,
Yeah.
sending them to college. Whether paying for their school right now,
Yeah.
right? We're sending them to Catholic school in the city. It's the right move for us, and
Yeah.
it's not cheap.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate to be able to afford that right now,
Does your
and
wife
it's
work? Or-
she does not.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which
So
is
she
also great,
so ever
right?
since having kids, she hasn't worked.
she has-
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, she was in the optometry world as we moved. Just happened to find it in Hawaii and just
Yeah.
stuck with it all the way through Texas. And then once we had our first kid, she stopped working.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she picked up a small job, more just data entry. She puts in I think 10 hours a week.
And she can also support you.
Yeah.
You hiring her. Because
yes.
now every time you guys go out to dinner, she's an employee and you guys go on a business
There we
dinner,
go.
right?
She's
There's
probably
so
running
many-
his
It's
Yelp
learning-
page right
learning-
now.
learning
There's
all
so
those
many
things.
different
Yeah,
writers.
yeah.
Running
have
his
her run your
ads.
ads, yeah.
So yeah, there's little things here or there that she helps me out with. She did
Yeah.
the printing on the shirts,
Good for you.
Oh,
right?
nice.
Little
That's good,
little
yeah.
things like
I
that. So
Yeah.
I like that. What is that? OW Builders.
OW Builders.
Love it. Yeah.
Yep. My kid's initials, all of
There
them
you go.
Weston.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's how I came up with it. It was kind of a play on, and it worked out, and
Yeah.
it still kept it clean, I think. And
Yeah, for sure.
we're just I'm just gonna run with it. I don't think the name is that important.
No.
When you really look at it,
So many
like
people
what
focus
does
on website.
what does Nike mean? What does Microsoft mean? What does this mean? Yes, you're talking about multi-billion-dollar companies.
Yeah.
But now, does the name help? If it was Nick's Builders or something,
Yeah.
but again, Builders. Like I had Builders in there. You're kind of keeping it.
Yeah.
I tried to keep it in the realm, and I thought it was going to be much more professional and clean
Yeah.
with maybe initials. And
I love
it
that
actually
you mentioned that because like so many people when they're starting businesses, like I gotta have the website perfect, I gotta have the logo perfect, I gotta have all these things. Like none of that shit matters. Like
No.
let me just tell you, over and over and over. I can repeat this until I'm blue in the face, and people still do it. Oh, I gotta have my website. I gotta have that. Nobody cares about your goddamn logo. Go on Fiverr, pay $30 for someone, pay $100 for someone on Fiverr to do your
I
website.
did exactly all. I
Exactly.
did all of that.
Yeah, you don't
I
need
spent
to
hours
spend.
building a website
It
myself.
needs to look good, but it doesn't need to be
Yeah.
like that. Does not matter
No,
at all.
no. Does it help? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to really kick off a business and start it, no.
You need clients.
People are coming up with
coming
excuses.
in.
I came up with excuses for a long time,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I started back in July last year,
Yeah,
and it's like I
yeah.
could have. I think I could have just moved on and done it now, but I haven't, and it's not. I don't think it's excuses. Some of it's security. Job security is good.
Yeah.
I do well with my W-2.
Bro,
And it's a
you're
tough,
in construction. You have about as much job security as anyone in the world.
for the most part. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never once
No,
been
I
worried
mean, like,
about.
when you do your own thing,
Sure.
like, there will always be construction, right?
Yeah.
I highly, that won't be outsourced to AI anytime soon.
Yeah.
No.
My role, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Marketing, advertising. Yeah, I can see that
At some point, yeah.
eventually.
And I try and use AI to my advantage, whether
Yeah.
it's for copywriting on the website, whether it's
Yeah.
different pieces, and
Yeah.
try and figure it out. Let me come up with ways to make my forms cleaner.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm coming up with now. Right now, it's all systems. So
Systems is everything.
yep, I just started a new CRM app
Okay.
that I'm using and trying to work with clients. I have
Which one are you
about
using?
it's Jobber.
Okay. Do you like it?
Right now, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was I was pushing for a while to like, no, I don't need it. No, I don't
Yeah.
need something.
No, just
No, I'm
start
gonna do it
early.
all Excel. Nope, Excel. I'll just do it by myself. Why spend the extra cash? Why spend the extra money? But I got to the point to where it saves me
Time.
hours,
Yeah.
hours
Yeah.
just to find it. And I definitely was very picky about which one I chose as I was going through different ones. There's not a lot out there.
Yeah.
There's not a
Really?
lot that
Could be a SaaS opportunity right there.
I think there could be. I think Jobber's doing
For
a good
small
job.
business, right?
Jobber, yes, small
Yeah.
small business. It's more geared towards blue collar workers.
Yeah.
Whether you're even a cleaning lady, it has the structure to do that.
Okay.
And I don't know if it would really work for, I don't know, a sports trainer, right? Just
Yeah.
booking. Like, no, there's stuff to go book. You can go book your clients on
Yeah.
on something else, whether it's Calendly or whatever it is.
Do you put your full CRM in there, like all the leads you get from Yelp and everything? All those go in there?
So they don't have a connection with Yelp. Yet they do with
Brutal.
Google. They do with Google and a lot. That's the one thing Yelp needs to change. Yelp, listen,
Does Yelp
you can't
but if go to
ask for
email-
reviews on
Okay.
Yelp. If
Yeah,
Yelp,
of
the
course.
algorithm of Yelp, you can on Google.
Yeah.
But if the algorithm catches you basically advertising for a review, asking for a review, a
Yeah.
text message through their system asking for a review,
Yeah.
it automatically negates it.
Really?
Yep. So it will not allow you to use
But
that
if
review.
you needed reviews and it were
There's-
on a YouTube channel, Yelp wouldn't know about that stuff.
No.
Right?
Exactly. So building those reviews have been crucial
Yeah.
to starting the company. I have, I think, only 9 reviews now, but
Yeah.
all 5 stars. And honestly, thank you to everyone who's given a review.
Yeah,
They've been
definitely.
glowing reviews,
Yeah,
great
yeah.
reviews. Which I have a lot of clients now who call and say, I don't care what their price is because your reviews are so amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
We want you.
You'd be like, I
Like,
just doubled my price.
You should. Thank you for saying
Those are
that.
the best clients to work with. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You don't want like the brokies that are, coming in and trying to pinch like every little penny. It's like, I'm not the contractor for you.
Yeah.
I do high quality work and I offer premium service.
Yep.
So, and if you position it like that, I think you're looking for someone that's a little bit cheaper. Just go ahead and keep searching on Yelp.
And
right?
that's almost exactly how I phrase it too.
Yeah.
It's I don't negotiate prices. I think there's some clients I give better pricing to,
Yeah.
but I get a call every other week from them
Yeah.
to come do something, and they right. There's the easy filler jobs, easy to work with.
Yeah.
They've given me referrals.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna stiff them or over. I wouldn't even say overcharging. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, you know what? I have no problem giving them a better deal.
Yeah.
No problem at all giving a better deal to them because it's all about, for me, relationships.
Relationships.
If I can have that
100%.
relationship
Yeah.
and they love the quality of work I do,
Yeah.
that's going to grow a business right there, hand over fist.
And if you get really good people, then they'll make referrals for you, and they'll bring in additional people while you're doing marketing. So you always have new leads, you have
Yep.
warm leads. Like it's I mean, it's just nonstop, especially being in construction. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If I wasn't doing marketing, I would be in construction.
There you go.
100%.
It's not
because
too late.
There's money in the bank.
Do it.
Let's switch now, Rob.
Let's go.
No,
Partner
no,
up.
no, not yet. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunity in construction right now. So right now you're working like crazy hours, right?
Yeah, so there's
you work
jobs I do in
W2?
the evenings. There's jobs I worked yesterday. I'm pretty much
Yeah.
working 7 days a week.
Yeah. You're working
Um,
today. Like as soon as
Yeah.
as soon as we're done here, you're
I'm
wrapping up and going to a job.
I'm heading out. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's a smaller job, but
Yeah.
it's one for a client that,
yeah.
hey, you need help on a Sunday? I'm not going to upcharge you. Like, I'm going to be there. And right now, I don't feel like I can upcharge for weekends,
Yeah.
but I'm charging as if I have a crew, so my pricing doesn't change.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I've started finding my core crew. So
Yeah.
I've been Chase and I were talking about this before we started
Yeah.
rolling. I started finding guys, and whether I get calls daily
Yeah.
for people looking for work.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a
Looking for work. You mean workers.
workers.
Okay.
Hey, a lot of painters right now get calls all the time saying, "Hey, I'm a painter looking for work. Do you have a job?"
No.
And
I think painter's like the easiest, probably just like house painting, right? It's one of the easiest skills to pick up.
it can be, but
To be good at it, though.
I thought, but to be good at it, and that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? Finding someone who's good at painting that doesn't have ripples in your ceiling, ripples like little things here or there. It's like from a long view, it's not bad. Oh, it's all flat paint. Yeah, anyone can do it. You start adding the semi glosses, you start doing these different things, and it's
All the different
your
trim pieces
your
and all that.
imperfections stand out a lot. And it's like, why'd you use a brush there, dude? I have these rollers. There's all these different things, but I'm starting to build it up, and I think I found my team now that I'm gonna start using. I actually just referred them to a friend.
Nice.
And again, a friend. I don't do a lot of business. I don't like doing business with family and friends.
Yeah.
So, but now having a crew, I said, hey, you know what? Don't go through me.
Yeah.
I have this guy that I now trust and will work with. I'm just gonna send him to you.
Yeah.
Deal straight through him. He'll take care of you. And then it's also, I'm not upcharging them because I'll tell them, if you want someone who's licensed,
Yeah.
I'm gonna charge you more
Yeah.
because you're using my insurance, you're using my warranties, you're using all this stuff that comes back to me at the end to where if they get hurt on site, if they do something that stuff happens.
Exactly.
Stuff happens.
It's
They
gonna
break
happen.
something.
It's
So they
inevitable.
fall through a skylight. They do whatever it is, right? There's little thing. It happens. So I still have my general liability. I just got workers comp because I started picking people up, right? You got to pick up all those insurances, but
My neighbor, he was telling me his workers' comp bill is like insane, especially like in California.
there is a huge barrier to entry, which again, I was very fortunate to have a job previously to allow me to pay for some of this up front
Yeah.
and had a savings. We've been very smart with our money to have a savings.
Yeah.
You're talking 20 grand.
what
Just to, I mean, maybe not quite that high, but just to start,
start.
to get all the proper insurances, to get all the tools. Yeah, tools too. A lot of that I had, but sure, tools. I mean, that's 5 to 10 right there.
So if
Easy.
you're starting from zero and wanted to be a contractor, obviously you're gonna have some experience because you have to have the experience to get your license.
Yep.
Like how much would you say is like startup costs? Because you have to get what's that one term I'm looking for? Not insurance. You have to have that.
There's
other thing.
bonding.
Bonding. There.
Yep.
we
So
go.
there's two bonding. There's two bondings you need. There's contractor bonding and there's employee bonding. It's your LLC bonding, and then there's general liability insurance. Those are the three you have to have.
Yeah.
If it's just me, I don't have to get workers' comp.
Yeah.
But the second I start hiring people, you have to get workers' compensation, and then you have to put in for it. Right now, I'm still figuring that one out. I'm talking with ADP right now for workers' comp, and they're going to help with payroll too.
Okay.
Haven't used them yet, so
You
I'm
need
still
help with
figring that
payroll.
out.
Let me get you some. We can get you some remote VAs.
There we go. Okay, awesome.
You can get those from $5 to $6 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, much.
Yeah, we definitely might be talking about that after this.
For the little stuff. So, but I wanted to touch on what you talked about, and I talked to Chase about this recently. Is like, I don't like doing business with friends and family because our values don't match. They want the best deal. I'm not going to give them the best deal because I want the most money I can possibly. Right? I'm going to charge as much as I possibly can. And for me, if I can get $5,000 for a job that I know I can probably do for you for $2,500, like that's not ideal for anyone, right? It's ideal for you to get a deal, but it's not ideal for me to pay my bills, right? And
Exactly.
make my exit maybe from a W-2 at some point,
Yeah.
right? Because you got to have that. Those values don't align. So I don't mind like giving people advice and coaching and mentoring.
Yeah.
But as far as like doing work for them, it's like, our marketing services are very expensive, right?
Yeah.
10, 20, 30,000, depending on which service you want. So it's like, you can go find someone for probably $1,000, or I can show you how to do it yourself. Right?
Sure. And occasionally too, you get family members who are willing to pay. They don't care about that. They want to support your business and pay,
Yeah.
but then it adds a whole extra layer too, as well of, oh, I can't quite be there, or, oh, you're in the East Bay and it takes me an hour to get over there. I have these clients I'm building and now I'm busy every weekend.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to go actually help out and do some of those jobs.
Okay.
And now it's dragging me down too. Like I feel bad not helping them. I don't want to charge
Now
you.
family gatherings.
I don't
are
want to charge
awkward,
you.
right?
And that's the thing though. They're not. And you do it with the right people and they're not, but it can be.
Yeah.
It can get ugly fast. It really could, and I just don't like it. But then they look at you and they say, why wouldn't I go with anyone else other than you?
Yeah.
And then it's also the other flip side of, well, your family, you should be helping us out and doing it. Which a lot of times then I just do it for free.
Yeah.
That's better for me
I
to just say
disagree with that,
if I'm over there,
100%.
well, small things.
Family should be
small
paying
things.
you. They should be supporting you. Okay, so I worked at a cafe for about a year. And this is when I was training to like open a restaurant. And the guy said, family and friends, they should come and they should buy everything. He's like, because I asked the question about, look, or aren't you gonna give it to them for free? Because he had some family come, and he's like, yeah, occasionally I'll give people things, but he's like, if people are coming and asking you to do things for free, they're not supporting you. They're just coming for freebies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should be coming. They should be buying. They should be supporting you. They don't support you by taking shit for free because that costs you money, right? In that case, it's a restaurant. Like that food costs you money.
Absolutely.
The service costs you money. The cleaning, everything associated with that meal costs you money. And same thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if they're not going to support you, they're not really like trying to support you. Be like, no, you can go find. Here's a couple referrals. I recommend these guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, you ain't getting free shit from me.
Well, I mean, my take is different now, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, with this whole AI stuff, you know, like I kind of like lean towards like people like to do business with people they like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, especially like online presence and stuff like that. Like you gotta put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Like what we're doing right now, right? So to me, it's kind of like you kind of want to be doing business with friends a little bit, right? But not like if Rob is calling me like, Chase, I need something at 3 a.m. Like, of course I'm his friend. I'm gonna come over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. Like now, people are the market changed a little bit, right?
Totally.
So when I say just don't take it out of context. So when I tell people like, oh yeah, like I only do business with people I like, you know, and they're like, whoa, you don't like me?
Why don't you like me,
You
Jason?
don't like me, Jason? What I'm trying to communicate is like, you know, consume my stuff a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I have a YouTube channel. You watch my videos. You know my values.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you know my principle. Like kind of like you, right?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
you know, Nick prides himself on, you know, doing a great job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this whole thing about, oh, we're friends, we should be discounting and all that stuff. You should give me a discount. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. You know, so I'm kind of like a little bit in the middle. You know, like I'm on your side, I'm on Rob's side, but I'm kind of in the middle, right? It's like consume some of my stuff first, and then if you like what I say, okay, let's start a conversation. But if not, we're just friends. Like you calling me, hey, I need help with social media marketing. It's like it doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because my philosophy is this, and you don't understand it just because you're my friend.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
mean you understand my values and philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's my take right now.
Yeah.
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 It's not like a selfish thing at all. It's just business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a tough dichotomy.
It is.
Well, if you called
It
me and
is.
said, "Hey, I need help moving,"
Yeah.
right? I might not have time,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
A lot of the time,
Exactly.
but it's like, "Hey, I'm actually in the area. You may load some stuff up and take it over.
Yeah.
I'm not going to charge you for that."
Yeah.
But then what's the difference
100%.
between that and saying, "Hey, dude, my thing's leaking. I need someone right now." And let me just, no problem. Let me come
True.
do that. It's like,
yeah.
why would I charge you for that?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Well, because
But
one's
I
my
think that's
trade,
where,
one's
like,
not.
the
But
trade-off comes, right? Like, so if, like, and I think this is what I've noticed with businesses is like, if I need something done and you need something done, maybe we can work something out. And I read a book recently, it was The Millionaire Next Door. They were talking about how like the guy did his taxes. And in exchange, he would like kept referring, he owned a car dealership, I think it was, and he kept referring. So he got like 5 sales just from this guy, but he was also doing his, it was like an equal exchange like that.
Sure,
So they're
sure.
both benefiting from it.
and I've realized that the more people I've met, the more relationships you build, you realize there are people who can have business relationships
Yeah.
and friendships
Yeah.
and keep them separate.
100%.
Very few people.
Yeah.
Very few
Well,
people.
that don't understand business.
People that don't understand business, right? Like if we're talking about business, I'll be straight with you and tell you,
Yeah.
no, dude, I'm not going to do that for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to charge you this or I'm going to charge you that,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But we're still going to go have cigars and we're still going to go eat steaks
Exactly.
afterwards. And you know what?
100%.
Hey man, sorry I couldn't help you out, but what's the
Yeah.
next one? What
Yeah,
else?
exactly.
What else are you looking at? You doing something else?
Yeah.
You doing this? And it's
So I talked to like
yeah.
I had a guy come give me a bid for concrete recently,
Yeah, yeah.
and he had we just got to talking, and he was like talking about like waiving, like an example would be like he'll waive the service fee, he'll just charge me at cost, and then I'll do marketing for him for like 3 months, right? So then it's saving everyone money. Neither of us have taxable income. We're both providing services for each other.
So Rob, like, oh sorry. So like one of the things that I learned recently, right, was kind of like people are asking for discounts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's kind of like, how do you handle that objection? When
Yeah.
people come to you like, oh, do you discount because friends, whatever,
Mhm.
right? We're neighbors. So one of the best ways to handle objections is like, actually, I don't do discounts, but if I help you with this project, right, and you can give me 2 referrals,
Yeah.
then I can give you this price.
Yep.
Because instead of me spending that X amount of dollar
For marketing.
you know, you give me 2 referrals.
Yeah.
This is the special pricing I'm giving for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't do discount, right?
Exactly.
So that was like, oh wow, that's actually a good way
It's a
to
great
handle
strategy.
objection.
Yeah, I like
It's not a discount.
And
That implies cheap.
that. We don't do discounts.
And that's the one thing with these CRMs, I can't stand it because the way that I've envisioned how it goes, right? It's called a discount. It's like, well, no, can I change that word? Can I change that word to special? Can I change that word to to markdown or something like that? Not discount, right? There's psychology plays a factor
Christmas
in too.
special or something.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Holiday giveaway.
multi work special.
Yeah,
If you have
multi-work
if you have
special.
coming over there doing 10 different tasks on the jobs, well, all my jobs are priced as if I'm going to come there that one day to do that one task.
Yeah.
Right. So there's setup, there's driving, there's gas, there's a lot of that factored into there. And a lot of times that's fine. If I can mark that all up and do all those jobs and do all that, great. That's money in my pocket.
Yeah.
But if I like you and you're a good customer, I'll give you a multi-job discount. So even if I do
So I come back, mail price a little lower.
10% off.
Yeah.
Right. That's nothing out
It's
of
not a discount.
It's not a
Let's be
discount.
clear.
It's not a discount. It's not a discount. It's not discounted service. No, and that's exactly it. It's psychologically that you have to play to your clients what your client wants. You need to sell them what they want
Exactly.
or what they need. Right? It's there's a difference there of figuring that out.
So have you ever had like you going over for like a small job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially right now, and then you see like all the stuff going on in their house. Like you like how do you approach that? Like you're like, oh wait, by the way, do you need help with that? Maybe I can come back later. Or how does that work?
Yeah, there's weird things. You don't want to insult someone on their home. right? Dude, so I've realized that you can't come in here and say like, oh, like wow, you really need a lot of work on this place, right? That doesn't go over very well. Yeah, exactly. Wow, you're gonna keep me busy for years to come. Yeah. No, it's you got to figure that out and again, understand your client. I don't think there's a right way to do it, and there's a way you have to understand your client, understand that specific person, and say, hey, one, is this person going to be a long-term client for me? And is this going to be, you know what? It's tough for me. It's like there's a lady who's in the city. I want to work with her. She's super nice. You almost feel bad, and you're like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll take care of this job for you. I don't know if I'm going to come back. I'll do this job here. They try and whittle you down. They end up paying the full price. But it's like there's certain things that I'm not saying someone specifically, but it's you have that too. Where I have a heart for people. Right. You meet someone, you want to help them out, and there's people who couldn't afford my services. And you go to their place and you look at it and you're like, sometimes you look at the place, you're like, wow, there's a lot that could be done here, but I don't think you can afford my services. I'll give them an opportunity.
Just do the one job.
Or I'll give them an opportunity. And they say, whoa, that's way more than I thought. And I was like, yeah, that's my pricing. If not, there's plenty of other people out there, and sorry we couldn't do business. Right. You got to find the right way to talk about it.
Do you have a list of recommendations you could give them, like people that may be a little bit cheaper?
Not yet. And in my mind, I don't know if I would ever recommend someone else's business in some ways. Okay. Because then it's also implying that they do worse work than me. If it's the same job,
don't charge as much, right?
But if they don't charge as much, it's a weird.
Or if they don't want to pull a permit, maybe that would be like the thing.
There's a lot of that we do that doesn't need permits.
Okay.
Right? Permits isn't what's gonna up it. Yes, a licensed person versus an unlicensed person, there usually is a pretty big shift there, but I don't know. Recommending another company just because they're cheaper just doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, makes sense.
If it's, I'm open to my clients, you know, this isn't my specialty. I can't do this. I know someone who does.
Okay.
Well, now that's a partnership. Now that's a referral of someone who does a specialty. They now see it. I see it as
a referral fee from that too.
No, not normally.
But
but it's not a referral fee. But then they'll refer me.
Oh,
right. So again, there's your traded services.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
they understand that, hey, maybe I have other specialties.
Gotcha.
Or hey, I have a license. Maybe I have this. So you figure
him 3 jobs.
Yeah.
He still didn't give me any.
And that's the nice thing with the CRM. There are referral options there, right? Who refer to? It starts adding all those things that I tried having. So I do memberships now too. I have two memberships. One's you have your. Oh, I just switched the names of them. Now I'm forgetting what my membership names are. But basically you have your basic home membership, which is $99 a year, and then you have an elite membership, VIP membership, that's $499 a year.
That's it.
That's it.
What?
That's it for now.
So cheap.
Like,
So the $99 a year one includes you get referrals. So if you give referrals, you get an additional 1% off any following work.
Okay.
Because if you're going to refer someone else and I'm going to get that job, well, that's money. I'll give you 1% on another job. That's easy. It encourages people to give referrals, but also I want to give you something for it.
Yeah.
And all these jobs, if I have a $20,000 job,
Yeah.
right?
That's $200.
There you go, $200, right? It doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up.
adds up,
You can get
yeah.
up. You can get up to 5%.
Yeah.
That bonus or that membership also gives you, I believe it's 5%. Now I sound like I don't know my memberships, but I believe it's 5%, not 10%. I think 10% goes to, it's 5%. The elite one gives you 10% off all work.
Yeah.
I also do an initial home inspection
Yeah.
and priority scheduling.
Mm.
So essentially, you're paying
So it'll get
$99.
booked. So if you're booked out, they'll move up.
If I'm booked out with other people who aren't members,
Yeah.
I'll
Adjust.
prioritize and
like
adjust.
that.
Yep. So it
Maybe
gives
you could
it.
even offer something where you could do like a premium service where it's like $2,000 or something, and then offer like Zoom calls. So do like free or not free consultations, but like
So I started
consultation a month. Then you just work from home, right? You just sit at home. You're not driving anywhere. They just send you a video call.
I was charging for consultations.
Yeah.
It was $99. There's a lot of people that don't do it. It's weird. I think that's much more of a maybe like plumbing or electrical.
Yeah.
Because when you show up, there's going to be some kind of troubleshooting
Yeah.
that goes into it. Or a lot of my jobs aren't that. Right. I can do, again, there's guidelines in having my CB that I can't do big plumbing jobs by themselves because
Yeah,
I
you
don't
have to have
I don't have a plumbing license.
two lines of work, right?
It's
Or
two
types.
separate lines of work other than carpentry.
Yeah.
That
okay.
it's very weirdly worded, and I haven't really come to that
Strange.
situation yet
Yeah.
entirely. Well, I guess not. I guess
Like you
if
can't
you do a whole
just
job.
do framing, right? You have to do like
I can.
framing and plumbing.
I
or
can.
Something.
Anything
okay.
carpentry, a CB, you're essentially a carpenter,
Oh, gotcha,
a carpenter contractor.
Okay.
Is how I view it in my head.
Yeah.
To where anything carpentry, building a house, building everything, all the
Okay.
roughing, all that stuff is I could bid that by itself solely. Everything.
Oh.
The main ones really are electrical and plumbing.
Okay.
That's where it really gets specific. There are nuances elsewhere, but
Yeah.
essentially you have to be a licensed electrician, you have to be a licensed plumber in order to do large plumbing.
Gotcha.
Can I bid a home?
Yeah.
We're in a house. I can bid this entire house.
Yeah.
I'm not a plumber. I'm not an electrician. I don't have security for this, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But I can bid the whole job. I'll have to just sub out that work.
Mm.
Some of it, I believe I can do myself
Yeah.
and then have to have a plumber or electrician come actually buy it off.
Wow.
So you can't just do it, buy it off and be done all in-house. There's levels to it
Yeah.
as a CB. Can I go get my electrical license
Yeah.
and my plumbing license and have that all underneath me and then do everything in-house? Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Do I need that experience? Electrical's different. I think it's like 8,000 hours or something like that
Yeah.
of that. I've done a lot of electrical work
Yeah.
outside,
But then
not
you can add it later.
outside of it. So that might be a self-identification. And maybe I get a journeyman to write that off for me if I can prove to them. The other thing too, if you're writing off someone or you're verifying their work, you're verifying. You need to back it up. That's how
Better
I
be
am.
good.
It's like a referral. I'm not going to
Yeah.
refer someone that's going to go over there and be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right? Then that's bad on me, not them. In my mind, then they're never going to ask me for a referral again.
Yeah.
Right?
Very
So you have to
true.
trust everyone who you're gonna refer.
It's always a tough and slippery slope. Well, we're running up on I think time here, so
Mm-hmm.
let's. How can people find you, Nick?
Yeah, I have a website, theowbuilders.com.
Okay.
You can find me on Yelp, OW Builders. I think if you look at it with the periods in between, I like
If you
that.
happen to go in and leave really good reviews because Nick's done some work for you, he would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, have the website. I don't have any socials right now.
Okay.
Socials are still building, and
Yeah.
we had talked before about that, and
Yeah.
we were looking at that marketing wise. And you know what? That's
Yeah.
just not something I need to focus on right now.
No.
I think it's something that can
Yelp
come
and
later. And
solid website's fine.
yeah, Yelp's been huge. That's where I get most of my stuff, anyways.
Yeah.
The other stuff in my mind is more for awareness.
Yeah.
And you can send people to a social to then see like, hey, look, this is all this work I do, or hey, look, I'm a goofball on here, and you're kind of getting people to know what you do and joking with them. It's just for like brand awareness almost, which I it's even more that I don't know, it's different than that, to where it's
Yeah.
not really advertising. I thought of it more for advertising,
Yeah.
and it's not. I don't think it's worth it.
Socials is more as like, hey, I'm this cool guy and I charge premium service, but
Yeah.
you're gonna get a really, down to earth kind of person, right? Versus
Sure.
someone that doesn't have socials, any sort of social presence. It's like they come in and they could be a complete stiff, right?
yeah.
Now you're stuck with them because you paid them already.
Yeah,
But instead, you hire this guy that's just trying to support his family and
exactly.
retire his parents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, perfect.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, thank
thanks
you.
for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Rob, thank you.